The night is quiet. You're home alone, lights dimmed, a film playing softly in the background. Then there's a knock at the door. 3 slow, deliberate knocks. You glance at the clock. It's well past midnight. You freeze for a moment, wondering who it could be at this hour. You listen. Another knock. Same rhythm, same calmness. You walk to the door, peeking through the window. 2 children stand there. 1 boy, 1 girl, both around 12 years old. Their heads are bowed slightly. Their clothes are outdated, their skin pale in the porch light. You feel something strange, a quiet discomfort in your stomach. The boy raises his head, and when you see his eyes, they're completely black. Not dark brown, not shadowed, but black. Pure, bottomless black. He says, in a flat, emotionless voice, "We can't come in unless you invite us." This is the story of the black-eyed children. The mysterious visitors who knock on doors, ask for help, and vanish the moment fear takes hold. Reports of encounters with the black-eyed children, or BEKS, began to circulate in the mid-1990s. But the truth is, stories of eerily similar beings have been whispered for generations. Their appearance, their strange requests, and the way they leave behind a sense of cold dread. It's as though they've been here much longer than anyone realizes. To understand how this legend began, we have to start with one of the earliest modern accounts. A night in Abilene, Texas, in 1996. A man named Brian Bethel, a respected journalist, was parked outside a movie theater, writing a check by the light of a nearby street lamp. It was late, almost midnight, when he noticed 2 young boys approaching his car. They looked ordinary at first, clean, polite, about 12 and 14 years old. One had light-colored hair, the other dark. They wore hoodies and jeans. The younger one smiled. Brian rolled down his window halfway. The boy began to speak, calmly, confidently, too confidently for his age. He said they wanted to see the movie that was showing that night, but had forgotten their money at home. He asked Brian if he could give them a ride back to their house so they could get it. As he spoke, something in Brian's gut screamed no. The boy's tone, their words, the way they stood so still. Something wasn't right. Then the older boy began to reassure him, as though he could feel Brian's hesitation. "It won't take long. We're just 2 kids. It's not like we have a gun or anything." That line, unexpected, unprompted, chilled him to the core. And that's when Brian noticed it. Their eyes, completely black. No iris, no whites, no pupils. Just an endless void staring back. He panicked, pulling his car into reverse. One of the boys banged on the window, shouting, "We can't come in unless you say it's okay." Brian sped off, heart racing, his mind replaying what he'd seen. When he looked in his rearview mirror, the boys were gone. That encounter, and Brian Bethel's later article describing it, was the spark that ignited one of the most disturbing urban legends of the late 20th century. Since then, hundreds of reports have poured in from around the world, encounters that share the same eerie details. It's always late at night, often between 10 p.m. and 4 a.m. It's usually at someone's home, though sometimes it happens in cars or in isolated parking lots or at rest stops. And it always begins the same way, with a knock. Witnesses say the children appear in pairs or small groups. They speak in soft, monotone voices, asking for help, to use the phone, to come inside, to get a ride. They never look directly into your eyes at first, but when they do, you know something's wrong. Their eyes are not human. They are solid black. No light reflects from them, and everyone who's seen them describes the same feeling, an overwhelming, primal fear. The kind that makes your hair rise and your body freeze. It's not just fear of danger, it's the fear of wrongness. As if something familiar, the innocence of children, has been twisted just enough to feel unnatural. One woman in Vermont recalled her encounter during a snowstorm. She was home alone one winter night when she heard 3 knocks on her front door. When she opened it, 2 children stood there, a boy and a girl, both wearing thin, outdated clothes, shivering in the cold. The girl said softly, "Our parents will be here soon. May we come in?" The woman hesitated. Her instincts told her no, but she couldn't leave 2 children outside in a blizzard. She stepped aside and let them in. That's when the power went out. Her cats hissed and hid under the furniture. The children sat on her couch, completely calm, their heads down, hands folded in their laps. When she offered them cocoa, they said, "Our parents will be here soon." As lightning flashed, she finally saw their faces clearly. Their eyes were black, deep, endless, lightless black. Her nose began to bleed. She stumbled backward, terrified. Then suddenly, both children stood up. "Our parents are here." They walked to the door and left. Outside, through the window, she saw 2 tall, thin figures waiting at the end of the driveway. Men in black suits standing beside a black car. The next morning, her husband came home to find her still shaking. Their cats had disappeared. And weeks later, both she and her husband were diagnosed with unexplained nosebleeds and vision problems. The phenomenon isn't limited to homes. In Portland, a man stopped at a gas station one night when 2 children approached his car, asking for a ride. In England, an elderly couple reported seeing a young girl with black eyes standing at the foot of their bed. When they blinked, she was gone. Every story ends the same way. The moment the witness refuses the children's request or flees, the children vanish. No footprints, no trace, no explanation. So what are they? Theories range from the paranormal to the extraterrestrial to the psychological. Some say they are demons, spirits that take the form of children to trick people into granting permission to enter. In countless cultures, the rule is the same. Dark entities can't cross a threshold without being invited in. And the black-eyed children always ask to be let inside. Others believe they are alien hybrids, the product of genetic experiments or interdimensional beings sent to observe humanity. Their unnatural eyes, emotionless voices, and perfect synchronicity support that theory. And then there are those who think it's something even stranger, a thought form, a legend that began as a story, but through fear, repetition, and belief, manifested into something real. Every time the story is told, the idea gains strength. Every retelling gives it shape, until one night a knock comes at the door. Skeptics argue that the stories are modern folklore, a combination of isolation, sleep deprivation, and suggestion. They say the human brain is wired to recognize faces and will fill in details in low light. That fear, once planted, grows fast in the dark. But even psychologists admit the consistency of these reports across decades and continents is unsettling. Different people, different backgrounds, same details. The black eyes, the flat robotic speech, the cold feeling of dread that fills the air. And the moment you refuse them, they vanish. If you ever find yourself alone late at night and you hear a soft knock at your door, don't answer right away. Look through the window. If you see 2 children standing there, motionless, pale, heads slightly bowed, don't invite them in. No matter what they say, no matter how polite they sound, no matter how much they ask for help, Don't open the door, because once you do, you may not be able to make them leave. The black-eyed children remain one of the most chilling modern mysteries, a story that slips between folklore and reality, between nightmare and encounter. Are they real, or are they something else, a reflection of our oldest fears, wearing a familiar face? Maybe they're both. The stories keep coming, the knocks keep echoing, and the eyes, those endless black eyes, keep watching. So tonight, as you settle in and the world grows quiet, listen carefully, because somewhere out in the dark, someone might be knocking, and when they do, whatever you do, don't say yes.